Hey guys, it's Josiah here. Welcome back to another episode of Josiah's Grape Reviews. I know it's been a couple weeks. I missed the last one at Phoenix. Kind of slipped through my brain. I was too busy on TikTok covering free agency. And by the time I was ready to get to it, it was like Friday or Saturday. So I was like, we'll just wait till Phoenix or wait till Las Vegas. And then started to go back into late laziness. So I have to jerk myself back out and actually do this and put the grind and work in. So here we are. So let's go and review. I'll briefly mention the Phoenix races. Congratulations to Justin Allgaier for winning the O'Reilly race at Phoenix, and Ryan Blaney for winning the Cup race at Phoenix. Congratulations to both of them. On the O'Reilly race at Las Vegas, it was a pretty solid race. It was Kyle Larson, Cup regular, who won, holding off other Cup regular Chase Briscoe for the win. Briscoe had a very interesting day. He had to get a flat tire, came back to finish second, so good recovery from him. Won't get into too much in the results, and there's not much to talk about. The big thing I do want to talk about is obviously the big story that happened from the O'Reilly race on Saturday was the contact between Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed battling for a second. So it was about 30, maybe 40 laps ago, I want to say. Corey Day was leading, Taylor Gray was second, and Sheldon Creed was third. They were all three battling for the lead right then and there. It was at that moment coming into turn 3 where Creed and Gray both went to the bottom. And Creed did not like the fact that Gray was blocking him, because Gray did the same thing a couple laps earlier, and Creed didn't like that he did it for a second time. So I think he wanted to send a message to Taylor Gray, maybe wanted to bump him and send him a message. That's not what happened. Instead, Creed did not lift going into turn 3 and took the 54 out and spun him around, ending Taylor Gray's day. I think he finished 37th at DNF there, which sucks for Taylor Gray because he had a really good car. Probably a good shot at winning, but that's not what happened. Now, I'm a Sheldon Creed fan. I am. I will defend Sheldon Creed for not all of it. I don't like, it's tough. It is tough. It really is tough. Everyone was going after Sheldon Creed, rightfully so, because, yeah, Creed should not have, done that, the wrecking somebody. However, I will say, I don't mind, and this is going to be a controversial take, and might be me being biased, so just bear with me here. I don't mind. I don't blame Creed at all. Not for wrecking him. I think what he wanted to do, like I mentioned, I think he wanted to bump him out of the way, send him a message, but instead, he didn't lift, and then he wrecked instead. So yeah, that was bad. I think if he would have bumped him out of the way, I would have completely understood that. But obviously he wrecked, so then yeah, that turns out a bad thing. And Creed owned it up to it. And yeah, and I respect him for that. Taylor Gray wasn't too mad. Obviously, he was mad at Creed. Trash talked him a little bit in his post-race interview, which I understand. Gray has every right to be mad. That was not a good move. But at the same time, I think if you would have bumped him, if he would have been bumped instead of wrecked, I would have completely understood. But it's difficult. It's one of those tough racing deals there. Let's go ahead and get into the Cup race at Las Vegas. Overall, honestly, that race was kind of. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best either. But the race basically came down to a battle between Jugos Racing and Team Hendrick. But I want to briefly emphasize the winner of the race, which was Denny Hamlin. He got his 61st career win, his first one of the season. But he broke Kevin Harvick, surpassed Kevin Harvick to get into the top 10 winningest drivers in Cup Series history and the top 10 all-time wins list. So congratulations to Denny. Obviously, this was a very emotional win for Denny. This was the last track he won at last year, and last fall. It was the last race with his father being alive to see him win. So obviously, there was that bittersweet win for Denny when he came back and won here. Obviously, no NASCAR driver had a tougher offseason than Denny Hamlin, and it was not close. Obviously, he lost the championship, was leading with about 3 laps to go. Caution came out, bad strategy, heartbreaking way to lose the championship. And then you turn around, and then your dad passes away in a house fire. Your mom was badly wounded. It was a very, very tough offseason, and any one of that could not only make, I would argue, not only make a guy want to retire, but honestly, if Denny Hamlin decided, hey, I'm going to take a long break from social media, I'm just going to be by myself for a little bit, I would not have minded. I mean, that was a lot that Denny had to go through. Denny did not deserve that. Obviously, if you'll know me in the past, maybe I've mentioned this or not, Denny Hamlin I've not been the biggest fan of in the past, ever since, my favorite driver was Chase Elliott, ever since the whole incident happened at Martinsville in 2017. And then his attitude just not my forte, I would say, but I know when racing is important, and I know when life is important. And when Denny was going through, obviously, when Denny was losing when he lost the championship in heartbreaking fashion, I felt bad for him. Even though I don't like Denny Hamlin, I do want him to win a championship because he actually deserves it, and it would be awesome to see him finally win a championship. Then obviously when he lost his dad, that was heartbreaking. It was tragic. Nobody should have to go through what Denny Hamlin had to go through. It was tragic. But luckily, in light of that, obviously his mom making a full recovery. I think she was at the Daytona 500, so that's good to see. But back to the race. Denny Hamlin, he doesn't. Another thing about Denny Hamlin, obviously took a lot of guts for him to come back this season and do what he did. And I know we kind of overshadowed this. Obviously 23XI Racing, they started off by winning 3 races in a row, the first 3 races of the season with Tyler Reddick, and everyone highlights Michael Jordan. But let's not forget that Denny Hamlin also is a co-owner for 23XI Racing. So while Tyler Reddick was celebrating Victory Lane, Denny Hamlin was there as an owner celebrating with him. But he himself as a driver hadn't won this season, obviously until Las Vegas. So obviously this was a pretty big win for Denny, obviously, with everything I just mentioned. Kind of starting to, my mind is starting to drift off, so I apologize, losing words here. But yeah, it's a lot. But another thing about Denny Hamlin is Denny does not mind drama. Denny don't mind drama because last season, if you remember, he won 6 races, most by any driver that season last year, while the whole lawsuit with 23XI Racing and NASCAR was going on. So obviously, Denny did not mind the drama here. And then obviously, very recently, his former crew chief, Chris Gabehart, has been into some controversy. I haven't gotten too much into it, and I really don't want to. It's not really my place to get into it. It's kind of similar to the lawsuit. I would try to get into it, and I didn't understand it. Same with this. I think it involves all I know is that it involves some spying. That's all I know. Spying. That's all I know. But even with all that going on, Denny was able to capitalize on Las Vegas once again. Denny don't mind drama. So that's the theme I'm going with here. Denny don't mind drama. I think that looks pretty good and even in this race, Denny had a fast car. But had a speeding penalty. Not even a speeding penalty could stop him. Not even the long run where his car faded. Even that didn't stop him. Even Chase Elliott, who came within seconds of winning the Daytona 500 this season and was hungry for a win this season, even he couldn't stop him. But once again, Denny don't mind drama, and that's what this win I think means. Obviously, it's bittersweet and all that from last season and the off season and this, but also Denny don't mind drama. Whatever's going on, he can blot that out, lock in, and get wins and compete and do what he has to do. And obviously, he did what he had to do. He won at Las Vegas. Huge win for him. Congrats to Denny Hamlin. And GG's, because obviously my favorite driver, Chase Elliott, came home in second. I honestly, this second place is different from like other second place where it's like you finish second and it's like, oh man, we were so close. And yeah, we were so close. But I would argue this is either one of, if not the worst next-gen track for Chase Elliott, the worst track in the next-gen era. His best finish in the next-gen car was 9th, and I believe that was the very first race in the next-gen, the sprint race at Las Vegas in 2022. I think he has like 2, maybe 3 top 10s. He struggled mightily, and honestly, it didn't start off too good. He qualified 15th, which wasn't terrible, but he quickly made his wins at the top 10, then made his wins at the top 5, almost led a lap. Keep in mind, he has not led a lap at Las Vegas in the next-gen era. Almost did. He led for a couple seconds, but didn't lead up the line, so it didn't really count. Then Byron pushed Larson when they were battling 3-1, which was an insane battle, by the way. Kind of fell back, and then pit crew had a slow stop. He fell back, but made his way back up, and just couldn't quite chase down Denny Hamlin at the end. Came close, but just fell short. But still, a second place, really, really good for Chase Elliott. But the thing about this season, and this is why NASCAR is so competitive, he finished second and he still fell in the point standings. He fell 1 spot in the point standings to Denny Hamlin, who, well, yeah, won the race. He got 70 points. But the thing about Chase Elliott, the thing about this is like the stage points. You got to capitalize on stage points. I know the memo off this is like, oh, we got to get rid of stage racing. I'm a stage racing defender, honestly. I think if there's stage racing, you got to capitalize. And Chase's team did not capitalize. Stage 1, they started 15th. They worked their way up to 8th. But obviously, they could have easily finished top 5 in stage 2 if they didn't have a slow stop, and they just didn't capitalize there, and that's on them. But still, they came through to finish second, but still dropped a spot in the points. That's how competitive NASCAR can be sometimes. It's insane. But anyways, Denny won the race. Chase came in second. William Byron came home third, had a really solid race. Christopher Bell, the pole sitter, came home fourth. And Ty Gibbs had a really good race too. Top 5 is, again, basically Jokers Racing versus Team Penske. Chris Buescher, RFK had a quietly good day. Chris Buescher came home 6th. Kyle Larson 7th. He had a good race, but kind of fell back at the end. Chase Briscoe 8th. I think he had like a couple speeding penalties and was trapped a lap down. The fact that he came up to 8th is insane. Bubba Wallace 9th. And Brad Keselowski at top 10. Good for him. Ryan Preece 11th. So all 3 RFK cars top 11. Austin Dillon a good finish. Solid 12th. Tyler Reddick 13th. Zane Smith and Joey Logano round out the top 15. Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, and Eric Jones the top 20. Then you got John Nemechek, Carson Hocevar, Riley Herbst, AJ Allmendinger, and Justin Allgaier. Then you got Michael McDowell, Cole Custer, Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Noah Gragson. And look down here, you got Josh Berry, Connor Zilich, Ty Dillon, Ty Gillen, Cody Ware, and Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG finished dead last. He came in with like 6th or 7th in the points tonight. Like, that wasn't me. That wasn't intentional. I think he actually did. My fault. That was not supposed to. Sorry about that. Anyways, you can't say that now without people laughing. It's insane. Like 3 years ago, you could say those two numbers together and nobody would make a big deal of it. Now people are. It's insane. But I think that is slowly starting to die out. Finally, luckily, it's just two numbers pushed together and it's not fun. Anyways. Different conversation, but looking at it here at the point standings, Tyler Reddick still holds a 61-point lead over his teammate Bubba Wallace. Blaney is third, 67 points back. Hamlin, 78 points back. And Chase Elliott is fifth, 87 points back. So again, a quick little recap of the late race. I'm trying to think of what all happened. I think the only caution for cause was for Connor Zilich spinning around, which kind of helped Chase Elliott, get a good finish. Second place here. I think it was like 5th, and then had a good pit stop, and then moved up to 2nd, so helped him be in contention. But that was really the only caution for cause. Honestly, the race wasn't all that exciting, to be honest. If I had to rate this on the Grape meter, it'd probably be about a 4 out of 10. Honestly, maybe just below 50. I'd say like a 48%. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible, but I mean, like, I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, I don't need wrecks. To make your race exciting. I just need actual excitement on the track. And like the restarts were good. You saw like that 3-wide battle with Bell, Larson, and Elliott. That was amazing. Liked that. When Elliott was chasing down Hamlin at the end, I was on the edge of my seat, obviously, because I'm an Elliott fan. Why wouldn't I be on the edge of my seat? But there were a lot of dull moments where like the guy would go out there, lead for a while. Occasionally, if Hamlin was out there again, in the long run, he began to fade. So then you see how a little bit passes. But that was about it. It wasn't all that appealing to me. That's just me. I don't like when it's long green flag runs. Sometimes it gets a little bit grueling and boring. So that's why I don't really enjoy that. But that's just me. Some other people would disagree and think it's a lot more exciting, and that's obviously your guys' opinion. I will respect that. But anyways, that'll be it for this episode of Josiah's Grape Reviews. Hope you guys did enjoy. And as always, you guys know what to do. Smash like, subscribe, and hit that little tiny notification bell. That way you never miss any new videos just like this one. And as always, just do it as a suggestion by yours truly, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys then. Bye.